before we get too deep into the new playbook, we thought it'd be important to help add some context on why the traditional playbook is no longer working, and hearing from some of the smartest voices in B2B. So we're also going to get their take on what will work. So we won't just kind of look back into the past, but we'll look forward into their kind of hypotheses on the next chapter. Jon Miller is the co-founder of Marketo and Engagio and one of the co-authors of the marketing automation playbook that, again, most of us are still executing today. Jill Rowley has spent 23 years at companies like Salesforce, Eloqua, HubSpot, and Marketo, and now leads strategy and evangelism for Nearbound. And Sangram Vajre is the former CMO of Pardot, co-founder of Terminus, and now CEO of Go-to-Market Partners. So honestly, I can't, in all sincerity, think of a better collection of people to help us do a post-mortem on the traditional playbook and advise us on what's coming next. So please welcome the group to the stage.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't know the musical chair is there. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. So, Jon, if I can start with you on this one, because many of us have been feeling this for some time, this idea that the traditional kind of things that we had been doing are just starting to lose a little bit of their effect. And it's one thing if I say it, but it's something completely different, when you do. And I was really, inspired by a post that you wrote for OpenView, I think maybe 2 quarters ago or so. So would love for you to just talk a little about your perspective on why the traditional kind of marketing playbook and others are just not as effective as they used to be.
Yeah, I mean, you would think there's been so many technologies in the last 20 years, so many new ideas and best practices that we've talked about. You'd think we'd all be rolling in the pipeline, right? Just because, oh my gosh, there's all these great ideas, right? But you go out and you talk to marketers, you talk to CMOs, and you hear that it feels pretty hard out there. You mentioned some of this in your keynote, right? I mean, so many of us, when we were going to planning this year, were told, okay, you got to generate 25% more pipeline next year with the same budget. And most of these people I talked to were like, I didn't even make my pipeline goals last year, let alone more with the same or more with less. Yeah. SDR productivity is plummeting. And I think we're seeing this across, just all of our growth rates. It feels harder than it should. And sure, the economy has something to do with this. I'm not going to minimize that, but I do think it's deeper than that. Yeah. It's more fundamental because in many ways we're just trying to do more of the same and expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. Yeah. And so that's how I sort of bring it together. It really does feel like we need something different. So first, maybe I should start with well, what is the traditional playbook, right? I mean, I think all of us know it, but as I would describe it, it starts with inbound marketing, starts with content, and ultimately you're trying to capture a lead. I did that by writing definitive guides. These big, thick books. When we first launched the Definitive Guide to Marketing Automation at Marketo, I had 1,000 downloads in the first week. Wow. You would capture these leads. You would nurture them, you would score them until they were kind of ready to go, and everything was highly measurable. You'd pass it off to sales, kind of like a relay race. SDRs were practicing kind of predictable revenue processes. But fast forward today, and as we said, this isn't working. Buyers have figured out our tricks, right? They know if I fill out this form, they probably are going to start getting unwanted phone calls. Yeah. Right. Now that's our fault, right, for calling people maybe who weren't ready, but that's the way we sort of been doing it. Yeah. So they're doing more of their research anonymously. They're doing it often third-party sites, communities, that we don't have visibility into. And as a result, the sort of traditional marketing automation, nurture, score process is kind of falling apart. It feels like every 6 months there's some new SDR trick. I remember 8 years ago it was, were you eaten by an alligator? You're not responding. And then people tried that. Yeah. And it worked until everybody does it and then it stops working. Yeah. And then video. Oh, everybody's do that. And it works until everybody does it and it stops working. It's the tragedy of the commons. And we've just been in this sort of loop of just trying to make everything work. And then the last piece I'll say about the old playbook, and we'll talk about this more, and you mentioned it, is that it's so rotated on demand capture,
Right.
mostly because demand capture is highly measurable. The old playbook is all about making marketing have credibility and respect by making everything you do directly tied to a lead, to an opportunity, to revenue, which was great, but in retrospect, it's hurt us, as we'll talk about.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the highlights.
So good. Jill, you had a front row seat to the marketing automation category as well here. What are some of your observations on just the effectiveness today?
Sure. Certainly less effective.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to be more efficient, but we're doing too much more. And we're doing more outbound. Yes, we have AI and we can do more personalized outbound, but the reality is outbound is interruptive.
Yeah.
It's targeted, and you're stealing someone's time. Attention, we're inundated and overwhelmed. There are too many signals out there. We can't really capture enough. We're not doing enough different.
Yeah.
We're not doing enough better. And we're not thinking about who are we better for? When are we better? And if we're better. And who the for is your customer.
Yeah.
And oftentimes we're so busy designing our go-to-market, we're not living in market with our customer. And everything that we're engineering is looking at our product, our marketing, our sales, and our success of the customer, but we're not thinking customer first. And so the attention isn't earned. The trust, we have to earn trust. And how do we earn trust? It's by helping people do the thing that they're trying to do. And it's by connecting them to the people who have done the thing that they're trying to do. Trust is earned. You can earn it directly, and you can also earn it through the people and the companies that your buyer already trusts. And so there's attention, there's trust, and I am very data grounded.
Yeah.
And again, we have too much data, and we don't have enough differentiated data. And we don't have enough understanding of our customers' entire ecosystem, understanding more about our customers in leveraging a more complete set of data, differentiated data, to be able to earn the attention and earn the trust.
Yeah. That's almost as if we've lost trust because of the interruptive kind of patterns that we've been kind of introducing now for some
Even
time.
inbound, right? I love HubSpot, and everybody knows that inbound equals HubSpot, and they created a whole category. But even HubSpot knows that with AI and the proliferation of more content, attracting and pulling people in is also getting harder.
Yeah.
And so nearbound, who in the room has heard of nearbound? Nearbound is a surround strategy. And the idea is your customer is at the center always. And you ask yourself who surrounds the customer, who is nearest to the customer, and how do you get nearer to those who are nearest to the customer? It's very much a surround strategy.
I definitely want to dive in on that even more. I want to check in with Sangram really quick because last time we connected, You helped us flip funnels and kind of tackle the ABM kind of strategy. All of us, I think, at this are operationalizing account-based marketing today. How's your thinking evolved in the years post-Terminus? And we're going to hear about the operating system too.
Yeah. Now, well, first of all, I feel like we are in the room of greats. So kudos to you, Anthony, and the team for just putting together. It's phenomenal. I see, and I feel like we are the dinosaurs of this. We probably created some of the problems of the playbook, so you can thank us later for this. But here it is. I see Morgan over here. I see, James Carberry over there. I see John over there. I think this is a room where the next new thinking is going to come out. So I think we hopefully can just pull some nuggets out of it. The way I summarize all of this is that we have been really, really great, quite frankly, at marketing the business in the last 15 years. That means we know how to do SEO better. We know how to do pay-per-click. We've just been good at marketing the business. But we haven't, Anthony, I feel, we haven't learned the business of marketing, which is very different. The business of marketing will tell us that we have to look at business as a whole. We have to think about the customer. We have to look at the data the right way. If you are a great content writer, great, but if that content doesn't convert, it doesn't make sense. So people started writing 3 blogs a week. How many of you have like these goals? Like, I'm gonna write 3 blogs a week, 2 webinars a month, and then X number of, we have just been really, really good at marketing the business. But really, this whole next generation, the next wave, is about understanding the business of marketing. And so the near bound and any new things that we pull out is that, are you really clear about what the business is doing and needs?
And what I love is a lot of the work that you've been doing now at Go-to-Market Partners is kind of operationalizing this into a framework that even shows marketing's place outside of the walls of marketing into sales and our kind of other go-to-market partners. Sorry. So can you talk a little bit about it? Just kind of how does the business of marketing get applied across the company?
Well, first of all, a quick story. Yesterday, when I was flying to up here, I forgot to get my luggage. And I literally properly packed it and kept it on the aisle. So if you want to look at it, LinkedIn, I'm like, man, I just feel like I got nothing. I just got to the airport with nothing. And I feel like a lot of us have to, whatever luggage we have around marketing, we have to leave it at home. So we got to leave all of your luggage that we all walked into. When you walk out of it, you need to just drop it. Drop it, use this as an opportunity to move on. And if I had my luggage, I'd be wearing a t-shirt that says, you don't have a marketing problem, you don't have a sales problem, you don't have a success problem. What you have, and I've learned the hard way, you have a go-to-market problem.
Yes.
You have a business problem. And each and every one of us has to just own that. If you're not in for the business and solving for the business, you are out of the business. That's what's happening with all the drops and the layoffs, and it's unfortunate and all that stuff. But we have just lost the way of what the business really is for. And it's no longer about how many leads we got, how many accounts we did, and all the stuff that we all have worked on, but it needs to dial in a little bit more into the business. So if everybody can in this room can say, well, I know what an NRR, how many of you know what an NRR means? Every single hand should go up, because then that means you don't know the business. The reason the business is going to go down is because if the NRR is not there, you're out. It doesn't matter how great of a content creator you are. So until we understand the business, it's gone. So we developed this go-to-market operating system, which literally has nothing to do with only marketing, only sales, only CS. It talks about all the 8 pillars of go-to-market operating system and allows everybody to now participate into the idea of how do you solve business challenges.
So good. John, I remember at an event, you actually referenced the operating system. So I know this is something you've spoken about quite a bit. And really a part the slice that I'm would love to dive in on is this idea of brand, which historically has been like a word we can't mention in B2B marketing circles for some reason. But a lot of the work that you've been talking about is the importance of brand. And can you just talk a little bit about that conviction, like why brand should be a core part of the B2B marketing playbook of the future or of the next one?
Yeah, I think, as marketers, as companies, I don't think we have appreciated sufficiently the impact that your brand has on your demand marketing. When your brand is strong, and I'll talk about what I mean by brand in a second, but when that is strong, you can be an average demand gen marketer and you'll see good results. Yeah. And if your brand is weak, you can be the best demand gen team in the world and you're gonna struggle. And it's not just your demand gen, you're gonna see the same thing in your sales, you're gonna see the same things in your retention, et cetera. I don't think we've appreciated how important that is.
Yeah.
It's also tied, you referred to what you called a meme, the 95-5 rule. It's funny, it's become a rule.
It's become a rule.
This is based on some research that was published by the Ehrenberg Bass Institute back in July of 2021. So it's very interesting to see how that has become now a rule. But effectively, brand, I think, is how are you marketing to the 95, that aren't in market. So what do I mean by brand? Right? I think that's always kind of really important to start with, which is I'm not talking about your logo, I'm not talking about your colors. Way too many people, they do a rebrand, that's what they focus on. Right? Your brand is what does your target market think and feel about you when you're not in the room? Yeah. It is the sort of emotional aftertaste of all the interactions that people have had with your company, including your SDRs and your salespeople, plus kind of all the marketing touches. That's what you got to get right. It's that positioning, it's the story, it's the kind of the core message. It's about speaking to the emotional reptilian brain and not the logical brain. So 2 points I'll make quickly. The first one is, and we've said this before, the core of the new playbook has to be about do right by the customer. Put the customer at the center of everything that you do, and if you do that, the rest is gonna kind of fall out, I think, accurately. The second that we don't have enough time to really get into is the metrics have to change. As we evolve to this new playbook, as we focus more on brand. Attribution, I think, is a waste of time. It's never going to give you accurate answers. It's always based on a set of assumptions that misses a whole bunch of other things. We need metrics that help us understand the impact of brand and these other things. I think we need to stop focusing on marketing source versus marketing influence pipeline and just focus on the total goals. Now, but lastly, I don't want to say none of this is going to be easy for CMOs and marketers. The boards, CFOs, we trained them to expect marketing to sort of think and talk in a different way. I think it's important that we're all having this conversation, and it's going to be really important for marketing executives to get good at talking about why marketing and go-to-market needs to evolve in a way that gives them credibility and doesn't make them sound, soft and squishy.
Jill, let me check in with you on the surround comments. I think there's something so powerful there. This isn't terribly new in the sense that you've been talking about, I think, using the language social selling for years.
Correct.
So obviously this idea of putting the customer at the center and really kind of looking at the trusted relationships around the customer as a function of growth. Even within the go-to-market operating system, I believe partners is a core kind of element of this. Just talk a little bit more about that and the vision that you see kind of going forward.
So I think that when I got into sales in 2000, one of the first 100 employees at Salesforce, go-to-market equaled sales.
Yeah.
Marketing didn't have a seat at the go-to-market table. The evolution of marketing when I joined Eloqua in 2002, and we were the second real marketing automation platform, we were helping marketers go from brand to demand, from analog to digital, and from trade show, badge scan, lead, toss to sales. Operations and data and tech stack and process and workflow and metrics is the transformation.
Yeah.
But beyond that, transformation has been from, I am convinced that marketing influences every single dollar of revenue. And today, I think about the journey of the buyer and the customer from unaware they have a problem, unaware there's a solution, unaware that you are the answer to the solution, all the way to advocacy. Your best salespeople aren't on your payroll. Your customers are your brand. Your people are your brand. Your partners are your brand. And we've evolved go-to-market sales, marketing, customer success, but we've left out partners. And if we think about buying decisions, tech decisions are being made in stacks. I don't want a piece of a tech stack that doesn't integrate, that isn't interoperable, and that doesn't have a better together story. And so there's too much tech, and there's not enough outcome. And your partners are already working with customers, and how can you connect better with your partners to deliver a joint value proposition? And so orchestrating, in partnerships, there's a saying that 1 + 1 = 3. And that's great for the partners, but I think for the customer, 1 + 1 has to equal 1. The customer wants 1. They want you to show up as 1. And so that requires a lot of work to elevate the partnership function so that we can see how partners are stitched into, threaded into, unaware to advocacy.
Incredible.
Well, I remember, I'll just say it out. I think Jill posted a LinkedIn post yesterday, I think, and Move, the book Brian and I wrote, she read the first copy of the book, and she's like, hey, you got everything in here but partners. What's up with that? This is 2019.
Oh, wow.
And she kept the email.
Screenshot.
And then screenshot it.
Annotate.
And then put it on LinkedIn yesterday. Hey, I told you so. And I'm like, you're right. Because at that point, there wasn't. Like, we were all, again, just trying to be better at marketing and not thinking to the whole business. And partnership is a big part of it. As a matter of fact, I feel one of the fastest growing area of go-to-market is through partnership because the deals are big. And I'll even add more to it. Like, Godard is here. Where is Godard? Up there. He's here somewhere, like his CEO of G2, like most of us are having some element of G2 using and showing, and that is a network effect. You want to show that there are unbiased conversations happening about your product without a certified element to it, like this is unbiased. And people go and check it out. So the search engine has changed to look at G2 as a proxy.
Yeah, so exciting. I literally hate this countdown clock because let's end on this. You know, again, the theme here for us is inspiration, and I think you guys give us a lot to think about across brand, partnerships. You know, really thinking through a window into what's next. Why, from your perspective, is this just actually a really good time to be in B2B marketing? Like, forget the past or whatever, the 5 years. Now's a great time to be a career B2B marketer. Curious if anyone has any nuggets of wisdom.
I'll start first. Well, how many of you think this is the best time to be in market? Yeah, like this is it. This is it. So the reason I think it is the best time is because we get to invent it.
Yeah.
You get to invent it. It is no longer at the technology level where the invention has happened. That's what we ended up doing with Pardot, Marketo, Eloqua. We invented it at the technology level. What's changing is that you get to invent it. Like each one of us get to invent what marketing really looks like, and it's changing. It's not, whoa, okay, we got this and we're gonna play out for 6 months. No, it's gonna change really fast. So because we are at the invention where each and every one of us get to say, you know what, I'm gonna throw out my luggage and I'm gonna figure this thing out, I think that's what makes it exciting.
Awesome, very cool. Jill or John?
I think what's exciting is we're going back to relationships. And we are moving from the what economy and the how economy to the who economy. And we get to go back to and focus on the who. Who is my customer? Who do they trust? And who do they want to learn from? Who does the customer want to be inspired by? And it's not your product data sheet, and it's not your ebook. It's people, their peers, people in communities. We haven't even mentioned community, and I think that's
huge.
absolutely massive.
The clock's fault.
It's the who.
Yeah.
Totally, and I think for content folks in the room, like what an opportunity from the rise of the creator economy or getting our sort of founder brand stories told. Like that's such a core part of the Who economy. So cool to see these things kind of coming together. Anything on your end?
Yeah, I'll wrap. What I'm excited about, is there's this whole generation of technology companies, Pardot, Eloqua, Marketo, et cetera, that were sort of built for the old playbook.
Yeah.
And I think what we're going to start seeing is this whole next generation, new generation of technologies that are really built for this playbook. I think Audience Plus is one of them. So I'm excited about kind of what you're doing. And underlying that whole thing, which, it's kind of amazing we've been on stage this long and nobody's mentioned AI yet. But, there's this major technology disruption that's happening that's going to, I think, be the inflection point that enables this next generation of technology. So that's one of the things I'm the most excited about, is kind of just see what all these new things are going to do.
Awesome. Well, so honored again to have you all here. So thank you so much for being a part of it. Let's give them a hand. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.